From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo. 2 Americans and a Japanese scientist have been named the winners of this year's Nobel Prize in Medicine for their work on peripheral immune tolerance. Mary E. Brunkow, Fred Ramsdell, and Shimon Sakaguchi were cited for discovering how the immune system is kept in check to prevent it from harming the body. Prime Minister Mark Carney is headed to Washington today for his second White House meeting with U.S. President Donald Trump tomorrow.
Tariffs and North American security will be high on the agenda when the two leaders meet at the White House. The bulk of Canadian goods continue to enter the United States tariff-free thanks to an exemption under the Canada-US-Mexico Agreement, which is up for review next year. But Canadian officials say lately they're focusing on finding relief to steep sectoral tariffs on Canadian steel, aluminum, copper, and autos, as well as duties on softwood lumber. Naira Ahmed, The Canadian Press.
The grounds of Alberta's legislature were packed with teachers, thousands of them, and their supporters Sunday, rallying hours ahead of a province-wide strike. Some 51,000 members of the Alberta Teachers Association were to walk out on Monday for higher pay, better classroom conditions, fair funding, and more resources. Edmonton teacher Sydney McLeod says it's time for teachers to get what they've been asking for over many years.
Not only looking for the raise, but looking for conditions in classrooms that actually allow us to do our job the way it's meant to be done.
Premier Danielle Smith said on the weekend she's confused why the union recently rejected an offer that provided a 12% pay raise over 4 years and 3,000 new teaching positions. Peace talks are expected to get underway today in Cairo to bring an end to the war in Gaza. Israelis and Palestinians with ties to Canada are marking the anniversary of the war with fear that the region will never exit the cycle of violence. Yara Shufani of the Canadian group Palestinian Youth Movement says it's been unbearable for families to cope with so much violence in the Middle East, and restrictions on protests in Canada only make that worse.
Palestinians all over the world, and certainly Palestinians who live in Canada, are feeling like there is an attempt to completely erase the Palestinian people at every level, from the physical level of the destruction of Gaza and the massacres that we are seeing in the region, to the attempt to erase Palestinians here in Canada.
Israel's ambassador to Canada, Ido Moed, says his country can't move on until the hostages held by Hamas are released. The first supermoon of the year is almost here. The moon will appear slightly larger and brighter tonight. It's the first of 3 supermoons this year. It happens when the full moon is closer to the Earth in its orbit. Supermoons are visible without special equipment if clear skies permit. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, Blue Jays starter Trey Yesavage was dominant, and slugger Vladimir Guerrero Jr. had the first postseason grand slam in franchise history in Toronto's 13-7 win over the New York Yankees in Game 2 of their American League Division Series. Yesavage had a franchise postseason record, 11 strikeouts over 5 1/3 no-hit innings in his first career playoff start.
This has got to be cloud 9. I couldn't imagine a better feeling right now.
Toronto now leads the best-of-5 division series 2-0. Game 3 is set for the Bronx Tuesday night. The Seattle Mariners edged the Detroit Tigers 3-2 to tie their series up at 1 game each, and both National League Division series resume tonight. The NFL no longer has an undefeated team 5 weeks into the season. The Denver Broncos hand the Philadelphia Eagles their first loss, 21-17, and the Buffalo Bills fell 23-20 to Drake May and the New England Patriots. From the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.